Hey, thanks for tuning in. A lot has happened since the last update. Last time you guys saw, the engine was pulled, the interior was pulled. Basically, it was just a sort of a rolling shell that needed a whole lot more to be done to it. Since then, this is what has happened: a lot of cleaning and a lot of painting. And we could pretty much end the episode right there, but we won't. So we started off with pressure washing the car, pressure washing the engine bay, pressure washing the trunk. The engine bay in particular had a lot of grease, a lot of grime on it, and many layers of paint. We, in some cases, the black paint came off down to the red paint where it was restored many, many years ago, and in some cases all the way back down to the original blue paint. So there was a lot coming off. I just wanted to get it down to a simple, nice base that I could repaint over the top of that. While I was at it, we also degreased and cleaned off the transmission, which you could see really needed it. This thing definitely hasn't been cleaned thoroughly in at least 20 years, probably closer to 25 years. And so there was a lot that needed to be done. But I was glad to have the pressure washer. This degreaser that we got was awesome. It did a great job. We also did the same treatment with the engine as well. This time without the pressure washer, just using the degreaser and a water bottle with some spray. And it still did an amazing job. So we had finished up the trunk, got the trunk all cleaned up. There was some holes and seams that needed to be sealed, so those are all sealed up now. The trunk has a nice coat of paint over it and some nice bed liner type stuff just to give it a nice little textured look. The entire engine compartment has been completely repainted in flat black. Pulled off as much as I can. We actually pulled out the steering column, the steering idler arm, the brake pedal assembly, the clutch and master cylinder, the shifter, everything. So there's going to be actually some more details on that in some future episodes. I have a little project where I'm going to try and tilt down the steering column as much as possible just to fit me better in the car. Which was a little bit challenging considering it is a non-tiltable steering column and the steering column itself is built into the steering box. So we try some creative ways to get the steering wheel a little bit down closer where I'm sitting. And then also we decided to remove the brake booster and go manual brakes instead. So there's going to be an episode dedicated to that, sort of how we did it, how we wound up making this thing, and what it's like driving it before and after. Then the always lovely Amy helped me completely go through the interior and wire wheel and sand and get the entire interior prepped and ready to be painted. I always go back to my rally days, and a race car interior was always white. That's just how it is. Didn't matter how dirty it got. Race car interiors are always white in my eyes. So we put a nice, solid, clean coat of white over the entire interior, roof, floor, roll cage, everything, just to have a really, really nice base to go with. I had removed the trunk lid and the hood in order to be able to paint easier around those two compartments. While I had the trunk lid off, there was some old insulation or something that was rattling around inside of the actual skeleton of the trunk lid. So I thought this is a good opportunity to drill some holes in that skeleton in order to get out that old, just rattly hard insulation or whatever it was. Also lighten it up a little bit, and also it looks cool because race car. So we did a bunch of lightening on the trunk, basically just holes, and more drilling and more holes. Did a little bit of lightening on the hood as well, but not too much because I really wanted to get it all back together. And then gave everything again a nice coat of flat black paint for that. So everything is put back together now. The hood is on, the trunk is on. And at this point, it was just a matter of getting it ready to go through the final body work and paint. So I had been going back and forth trying to figure out a paint color that I wanted to paint it. And, like I always do, I probably overthink and commiserate over everything. But I got it narrowed down to a couple of colors right now. I'm looking at either Ford Eruption Green, GM Arctic White, or Mazda Soul Red Metallic. So those are the couple of colors that I'm thinking of right now. It is off with a local friend of mine who was doing the final body work, getting it all, the final coat of primer, getting it all blocked out. And then pretty soon here, we have to make the final decision on paint because it is getting painted. And then as soon as that's done, as soon as it's all painted, comes time for the reassembly. So I'm going to get it back and just start putting everything back together. But until that happens, while I have this extra space in the garage, I'm going to be pulling apart this thing, not entirely, just a little bit, but I'm going to be pulling apart and doing a reseal on it. So we're doing both of the oil pan gaskets, front and rear main seal, cigarette seals, all the different seals that tend to leak, because it did leak a bit. It wasn't too bad, but it did leak a bit. But with the nicely repainted engine bay and everything, and the now clean engine block, I just want to keep things nice. I don't want it to leak anymore. So I'm just going through and doing basically resealing everything, maybe refreshing the color on the valve color. I'd originally painted that orange to match the stripe going down the middle of the car, but no more orange stripe. Maybe we'll do something different with the valve cover. So those are the next steps. Again, the next thing for me is going to be pulling this apart and resealing all of it. And then I can't wait to decide on a color and get it back painted. It looks like we should be able to make the September race. I thought there's 3 races left of this year, but I was wrong. I just checked the schedule. There's only 2 races. So I really hope to make the September race in Buttonwillow. That would be absolutely fantastic because I've raced there a bunch so far, and I really like that track. And then the next one, the last one in the year, is going to be in November at Willow Springs, and that'll be fun. I haven't raced at Willow Springs before, although I have been doing it a lot on the simulator. So we'll see. But I'm really excited to get things going, and to get back on track. All right, that's it for today. Remember, keep it this side up.